This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening, I'm Debbie Cooper.
And I'm Carolyn Stokes, and here's what's making news right now.
We lost an entire year last year of his education, and we're just not willing to lose another year.
Parents of a deaf student say inclusion in the classroom is not working as it should.
I'll be stepping down as leader of the provincial NDP.
McCurdy calls it quits, but is his political career over?
Vexing voters. Some ballots aren't arriving, others are, but for deceased relatives.
Hurricane Jose won't have any direct impacts on Newfoundland and Labrador, but we will see some moisture from this system. I'll let you know where and when coming up.
The parents of a 6-year-old boy feel the education system is discriminating against their son, that he's not getting the same quality of education as other students in his class. His name is Carter. He's deaf and can only communicate through sign language. His parents, Todd and Kimberly Churchill, say Carter gets 2 hours of instruction a day with a teacher who can communicate with him. The rest of the day is spent with a student assistant and a teacher who does not know sign language. They fear Carter is being left behind.
Carter, do you want to go outside and play?
When 6-year-old Carter Churchill gets home from school, there's one thing he wants to do.
Orange chair? Yes? Okay, let's go.
The orange chair. After school, Carter gets to switch seats, move into a motorized wheelchair that lets him zip around outside. The orange chair helps Carter keep pace when his brother and friends are running in the backyard. It helps level the playing field.
He's gone through so much in 6 years, more than most people will go through their entire life. And he's faced it with such a great outlook on life, and he's so happy, and he's inspiration to me every day.
Carter has cerebral palsy. He can't speak. He's also deaf, but cochlear implants allow him to hear. With all the daily challenges he and his parents face, the biggest one right now is in his grade 1 classroom. Carter communicates through ASL, American Sign Language. If you don't know it, you can't have a conversation with Carter.
The teacher of the deaf, Carter gets only 2 hours per day of a school day, which is 6.5 to 7 hours of quality instruction with somebody who can have a two-way communication with him.
And it's not okay. It's not okay. It's discrimination. It's his right that he receives a quality education that's equal to that of his peers, and it's something that's not happening.
Being in a classroom with a teacher and students who don't know ASL also means Carter is not honing his own language skills the way other students learn English.
If you sent your child to kindergarten and they were never taught English ever, you can imagine when they got to grade 12 how bad their English would be. You know, when I went to school, I was taught English in every single grade right to grade 12, but now Carter's expected not to learn any ASL in school at all. It's not a subject matter for him.
And then there's the report card. How do you assess the performance of a student you can't have a conversation with? Churchill says they found out last year you can't.
They pushed him from kindergarten to grade 1, not knowing what he understood, and if anything.
I guess to use a computer analogy with Carter, he can download, he just can't upload.
He needs help to do that. Help his parents say he's not getting in the classroom, a disadvantage they fear will follow him from grade to grade.
Eventually he would get to grade 12 and maybe have a grade 2 or grade 3 education, maybe if he was lucky. And as a father, and I'm sure my wife will say the same thing, we don't want to look back and have Carter ask us when he's 18 and he has very limited education and very limited opportunities, Dad, why didn't you do something about it?
That worry is a weight on the Churchill family, the worry that their son isn't being given the chance to succeed this early in life.
I think that you can probably get the impression that this is a fight that we are quite passionate about. We know that there's an injustice being done here. And we know that our son and other children like him deserve much more. And both of us, we have no intention of ever quitting. we're sticking around until Carter gets a full-time teacher of the deaf in his classroom.
Now, there was a time when children like Carter had a full-time teacher of the deaf. That's when the School for the Deaf was open in St. John's. 7 years ago, government shut down the school because of low enrollment numbers and promised that deaf students would continue to receive the same quality of education. Now, the Churchills feel that's not the case, and so does a former educator at the School for the Deaf. I asked John Reed if there was any way Carter could get the same education as his classmates.
The best way is to have a full-time teacher who knows how to sign. I say sign because not very many people understand ASL. ASL is a lot different than signing. And you can, if you just look at the 3 different sign language interpreters for the hurricane that happened in Florida, the best interpreter was a deaf interpreter for the deaf. And his communication was entirely different than the most skilled ASL interpreter that was there, who was an excellent interpreter herself and himself. But that's what he needs. Plus he needs peers. Are his peers the hearing kids that are sitting all the time and behind him? I don't think so. His peers are other kids who are deaf, who share the same types of experiences. It's just a sad situation.
In other news now, police have confirmed the deaths in Marystown, those 2 deaths over the weekend, are the result of a murder-suicide. In consultation with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the RCMP are saying the 18-year-old woman was deliberately killed. Rihanna Krywocheski was Indigenous and originally from Saskatchewan. Her boyfriend, 37-year-old Jeff Kilfoy, committed suicide.
Well, another person has died on our roads. A 28-year-old man is dead following a single vehicle accident in Marches Point on the Port-au-Port Peninsula. Police say the accident happened just before 1 a.m. this morning. Emergency workers performed CPR, but the man died shortly after arriving at the hospital. Earl McCurdy is out as leader of the NDP. He made the announcement this morning, and already the race is on to replace him. Here now's Peter Cowan is on the story tonight, live from our newsroom. So Peter, why is McCurdy leaving?
Well, Debbie, in short, it's because of his family, he says. His wife has a business in Eastport. His son is going to high school there, so he's packing up and moving there, leaving behind the leader's job at Confederation Building. And he leaves the position in really about the same way that he found it. The party isn't really much better off today. If you look at the polling numbers, for example, the party is in 3rd place behind a really unpopular Liberal government. And when it comes to choice for Premier, McCurdy is also in 3rd place behind Dwight Ball and Paul Davis. One of the big challenges for him is the fact that he hasn't had a seat in the legislature, and he said today that that's been one of the issues that's really held him back.
I really needed to win a seat in the general election in 2015. I was unsuccessful in doing so. So yeah, that was no question. That was difficult because you're a little bit on the outside looking in.
So with McCurdy leaving, Peter, at the end of this month, who's looking to replace him?
Debbie, it only took a couple of minutes before we saw the first person step forward, and this is someone who does actually have a seat in the legislature. Who is it? Well, it's Jerry Rogers. She's one of the 2 NDP MHAs. She's been representing St. John's Centre since 2011. She's the first openly gay MHA. Before she got into politics, she was a documentary filmmaker. And today she took an aim at what she sees as one of the weaknesses of the other 2 parties.
The people of the province know that they have been duped by the last 2 governments. We thought that Churchill Falls would never happen again. And here we are with Muskrat Falls, that's even worse.
Right now, there aren't any rules or timelines yet for when this leadership race is actually going to happen. That's going to be up to the NDP party executive. They're going to be meeting next week. They'll also pick an interim leader. And today, Lorraine Michael, who was the former leader of the party, who still sits in the legislature, she said that's a job she's interested, so that makes her a likely contender when they get together to pick someone. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Peter Cowan for Here and Now.
Well, complaints are growing over mail-in election ballots in St. John's. CBC News is hearing from residents who say the ballots haven't shown up. Some say they received ballots for deceased relatives. Others say they can't reach the city's 311 number for help. Here Now's Mark Quinn reports.
Many people are coming downtown to St. John's City Hall to cast their ballots like this, but CBC News has also spoken with many people who say they haven't been getting that opportunity.
I have not received my mail-in ballot. I was surprised because I've lived in the same house for 20 years. I've voted in every municipal, provincial, and federal election, and according to the city's website, I'm registered to vote.
And he's not alone. I've heard from many people today who haven't received ballots like this one yet. The city says it's working on it.
We've sent out our ballots to everyone that we had listed on the voters list, and we've been working all this week for those who've not been included. If they call in or register online, we're working diligently to post subsequent vote-by-mail kits to those who didn't get on the list.
It's a big concern for the city. In the last municipal election, it had already received 44% of the mail-in ballots at this point. Today, it's received just 14% of those ballots. The deadline to mail in ballots by Canada Post is Friday. The city says if you don't get one of these and can't do this, you can vote in person or by proxy on Election Day.
Election Day is September 26th. Many people I spoke with today, including the outgoing Mayor of St. John's, Dennis O'Keefe, said perhaps for the next election, the city should consider an online voting system. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
So problems with mail-in ballots in St. John's, but how does voting work or not work in the rest of the province? And who watches how candidates conduct themselves? Here and Now's Anthony Germain raised those issues with Craig Pollitt. He's the CEO of Municipalities NL.
So Craig, when it comes to municipal elections in our province, how does it work?
The municipal elections are governed by a thing called the Municipal Elections Act, very creative name, and it's essentially up to each council to run their election. So typically the town clerk or the town manager, I think normally the town clerk, becomes the returning officer, and they run the election. So they do the nomination process, they file the forms, all that sort of thing.
So there's no governing body, it's up to each city, each town, each village to do their own thing?
Right, so we have Elections Newfoundland and Labrador here, and that sort of runs the provincial election or manages it. We don't have a similar body for municipal elections. They each do their own individual elections.
Right, so in St. John's, for instance, you see the mail-in ballots. St. John's can afford that, not everybody can.
Right, exactly. So I think they're the only municipality right now that does mail-in ballots.
So who determines who's qualified to actually run these elections? Because, democracy does take a bit of caretaking.
It does indeed, and it's part of the town clerk's job. So when you hire a clerk, that's one of the things that they have to be able to do. And in our case, it's mainly about the process. So checking people's credentials, their eligibility. You have to be fully paid in municipal taxes in order to run. You have to be a resident for so many days, that sort of thing. So the town clerk will check all of that as you submit your nomination forms, and all that information is on the form itself.
How about with respect to how candidates conduct themselves in a campaign? For instance, we saw this week Premier Dwight Ball goes to Deer Lake, where his brother is running to be mayor, and re-announces several $100,000, money that's already been announced. I mean, who decides what's proper and what's not?
The public is going to decide what's proper and what's not, to put it bluntly. There's nothing in the Act, there's nothing in any legislation that says announcements can't happen in a community. The business of councils continue on during the election process. So there's no regulation around that sort of thing right now.
So governing ministers can go to various communities of any size to re-announce money that's already been announced for whatever reason, and it just so happens to be during a campaign, and there's nothing that can happen?
There's no guidelines around that. We don't tend to see a lot of it, to be honest, because it's fairly obvious when it does happen, and for the most part, I think it happens simply because that's the way the process has rolled out. These announcements are scheduled months and months and months in advance.
In your role, final question of the Municipalities NL, what improvements could you see when it comes to the election time? Does it make sense to have them all on the same day?
Yeah, I think it does. It helps us coordinate information, if nothing else. I mean, we're trying to gather information on how these elections are happening, how many people are running, how many people aren't running, that sort of thing. So it helps in that way. In terms of improvements, a better way to coordinate the whole system might be good. You know, right now the returning officer will collect all the information on candidates, send it into municipal affairs, and there it sits, you know, in a filing cabinet. If we had a more coordinated approach to it, elections NL for municipalities, we could probably do a lot more data mining and figure out what's happening, what trends are happening, what we could do to affect it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, now heading down to the Caribbean, Hurricane Maria is expected to hit Puerto Rico sometime in the next 12 hours. The storm is charting a path of destruction along the eastern Caribbean. The Category 5 storm ripped across Dominica last night and early this morning. Strong winds clocking in at more than 250 kilometers an hour leveled the island. Torrential rains also caused widespread flooding to the north in neighboring Guadeloupe. So the big question here is Maria a problem we should even worry about? Of course, it's time to bring Ryan in to see if he can answer that question for us. Ryan.
Well, the short answer with Maria is it's just too early to tell. The storm, as you mentioned, rolling through the Caribbean right now. And there is a look at the satellite picture. And again, Maria well to the south. Unfortunately, Puerto Rico in direct line of sight for that storm. So really a long ways away from home here. And over the next 5-10 days, that storm will churn up and head towards Bermuda. So no direct impact from Maria anytime soon in our neck of the woods. As we look closer to home, we are keeping an eye on this next system, which is spinning just south of Nova Scotia right now. That is, yes, one that we're going to be keeping an eye on over the next couple of days. Jose, in terms of throwing some moisture up into our neck of the woods, but not expected to be any impact here in terms of direct impact. That said, we will see some moisture funneling up into our neck of the woods for tonight in through tomorrow, and we will have to watch some rain, especially for the commute tomorrow morning across central and western parts of Newfoundland. We'll talk all about that coming up in just a few minutes. Carolyn?
Thanks, Ryan. Well, disappointed. That's how Premier Dwight Ball is describing criticism from the Nunavut president. Johannes Lamp says the premier is not living up to a commitment to lower water levels in the Muskrat Falls reservoir in order to reduce the threat of methyl mercury contamination. But the premier says he directed Nalcor to lower the water in June, and that process was halted in the interest of public safety after erosion was detected along the banks of the reservoir. He says all Indigenous groups were fully aware of this.
They've been involved in this from day one. They have access to all the information that's available about lowering the water levels and the risks that were associated around slope erosion and so on. So disappointed, but I also think it identifies some of the frustration that we all feel with the project. I've got a lot of time for President Lamp. We've worked very closely with his government on many issues aside from the Muskrat Falls project. So, you know, it's disappointing, but I really think it's really about the frustrating process that all of us find ourselves in from time to time with this project.
And Nalcor says about 40 hectares of potential mercury-causing vegetation was cleared below the 25-meter mark this summer. The premier says a plan to further mitigate mercury levels is in the works, and all Indigenous groups will be part of that process.
It appears the former I.J. Sampson Junior High building in St. John's will get a new lease on life. City Council is taking the next steps to approve rezoning the area to residential from institutional to make way for 20 townhouses. The applicant also wants to build 58 seniors apartments to be contained in 9 buildings on the site. A public hearing into the proposed changes was canceled because no public submissions were received.
Coming up next, Deep Trouble, Part 2 in our series on the beleaguered right whale. Tonight, we tell the heartbreaking story of a man who died trying to rescue a whale.
The future of the endangered North Atlantic right whales is a matter of life and death, and not just for the whales. Tonight, the story of the volunteers who risked their lives to save right whales entangled in fishing gear. Few were as good at it as Joe Howlett. This fisherman from Campobello Island used techniques he helped develop during dozens of successful rescues. But in a summer of catastrophic loss for the whales, the odds finally caught up with Howlett too. The CBC's Lauren Bird has this report.
Get that dark green one.
Joe Howlett spent 15 years disentangling whales as a member of the Campobello Whale Rescue Team, like this mission in the Bay of Fundy last year. But on the day that would be his last rescue mission ever, Howlett was not with his normal crew.
It's a really challenging thing to try to cut a free-swimming whale free.
Philip Hamilton is a research scientist with the New England Aquarium. There are only about 500 North Atlantic right whales remaining, and Hamilton knows each one right down to the calloused patterns on the tops of their heads.
They're surprisingly fast and agile given their shape.
Hamilton and Howlett were on board a research vessel off Sheboygan when a call came in from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. An entangled North Atlantic right whale was spotted in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. The morning of July 10th, they boarded a DFO fast rescue craft and took off for the whale.
And it was rough enough that Joe was getting some spray, and the captain said, "Do you think he wants to come back here?" And I kind of knew the answer, but I poked my head out of the wheelhouse. "Joe, you want to come back?" And he turns with this big smile on his face, like, "No, he's in the elements and loving it,
They found the whale with lines wrapped around its body about 10 times, moving straight ahead in a slow line. The team assessed the situation. Howlett was ready at the bow. The whale flicked its tail after the first cut, but had steadied its course when they advanced again.
Joe was able to get the knife hooked into one of the lines, and the whale started to sink and go under the boat. And Joe was pulling straight up, sort of leaning over the pontoon. I didn't see this, but the captain said that Joe said, I got it, and another thumbs up. And then Joe must have seen the tail coming, and he sort of ducked.
The whale's tail struck Joe as it descended into the depths, the force equivalent to roughly 2,000 pounds, like being hit by a truck.
It was like instantaneous, and apparently, his injuries were, it was catastrophic, so he probably didn't feel anything. It was probably very quick.
Hamilton performed CPR for an hour and a half while they raced for shore. A Coast Guard vessel met them midway, but it would take 3 hours total to make land, where Joe was pronounced dead.
Let's get our gear together, Mo.
The Campobello Whale Rescue Team, the one Joe co-founded in 2002, hasn't been able to perform any right whale rescues since his death. DFO has revoked permits for disentangling. The federal government is responsible for managing the survival of the endangered species. The department issues the permits and calls on the team when a whale is in distress, but provides minimal support.
And the North Atlantic right whale is the most endangered one that they have responsibility for. I guess we've given them a free ride for a long time. Not a totally free ride, but a pretty minimal ride.
The team's 2 boats, taped up as they are on loan from DFO. Its $9,500 DFO budget pays for the boat's insurance, leaving little for fuel and maintenance costs. DFO says it can't discuss what kind of support it gives to rescue teams.
And the nature of one contract and the specifics of any one contract are based on the particulars of the services they provide.
There are 3 investigations ongoing into Joe's death. One by Transport Canada, one by DFO, and another by WorkSafe New Brunswick. The reinstatement of rescue permits is pending the results. Hamilton says no one has called him yet as part of that process. Through his work with the registry, Hamilton knows the whale that killed Joe Howlett. It's called number 4123.
I saw it 19 days later in the Bay of Fundy, and it was really emotional, but I can't describe what those emotions were, but yeah, I'm glad to know it's alive. I would rather Joe were alive.
Lauren Bird, CBC News, Campobello Island.
Still with that story, the Department of Fisheries and Oceans conducted a necropsy on another North Atlantic right whale today. A carcass was found off the coast of New Brunswick last Friday. The whale was completely wrapped in fishing line when it was found. A large steel snow crab trap was still attached to its body when it was towed to Muskrat Island in New Brunswick yesterday. It's the 14th confirmed death of a North Atlantic right whale off the coasts of Canada and the U.S. this summer.
The National Basketball League of Canada is coming to St. John's, and that means at least 20 games played here at Mile 1. What does that mean for basketball fans? I'll have that story coming up.
And welcome back once again.
And welcome back to Ryan.
Yes, thank you very much. And thanks for pinch hitting yesterday.
No problem.
Of course,
Anytime.
when Carolyn's doing the weather, everybody has a nice day today as you deliver the forecast. And of course, I'm back, so we're talking about rain.
Yes.
When are you going again?
Yeah, not for a while. Now, again, today was a pretty nice day, especially here in the metro region, 17 degrees. Bonavista also at 17. Those were the hot spots across the province. Temperatures, though, generally, again, Corner Brook around 18 degrees as well. Another hot spot there, Stephenville. Temperatures, though, for pretty much everybody, we're in that 13 to 15, 16, 17, 18 degree range. So pretty nice late summer, early fall day across the region. Current temperatures, it's just 15 in St. John's right now. Corner Brook's still at 18 degrees. Labrador City is parked at 11. And as we look at the satellite and radar, we've been seeing some showers pulling up into the southwest corner of the island. Some scattered shower activity out towards Bonavista Bay. A couple of spits over the Avalon over the last little bit as well. And some showers over the northern peninsula and across southern Labrador. A couple of lines of moisture as we look off to the south and west. They're going to be watching for the overnight and in through tomorrow morning. This one here, which is again picking up on the radar from Septiel. That's going to be continuing to push through southeastern Labrador tonight. And this second line that is now pulling into southwestern Newfoundland extends back down towards the Maritimes. The third line of moisture we're going to be watching is coming from Jose, which is again spinning up, but is going to be basically parked there for the next 3, 4, 5 days. It will not move. It'll wander in this general vicinity, but won't be having any direct impact even on Nova Scotia, though we will see some of these outer lines of moisture starting to work up to the north, and one of those will track at least into our neck of the woods, and we'll show you that in just a second. There are the stats on Jose right now. Still a Category 1 storm, packing gusts of 150 kilometers per hour, so still a big storm, but really won't wander, as I mentioned, too far over the next couple of days. Watch this line of moisture coming up from the south as we roll through the day tomorrow. That will continue to work northward. There's the rain we're watching for western and central Newfoundland by the time we get to tomorrow morning. I think the Avalon stays dry for most of the day, and then some of that moisture from the south will start to clip in for tomorrow evening into the overnight, and that will make for a wet Wednesday night and in through early Thursday morning. Temperatures to start the day tomorrow as you're off to the bus, 12, 15 degrees and 8 to as cool as 5 in Labrador City. And again, the best chance of rain is central towards the west and southeastern parts of Labrador. We start dry on the Avalon, and will stay that way for most of the day as those fog patches do mix out tomorrow afternoon. Some sunny breaks, temperatures near 18 degrees, winds in from the southwest, some gusts 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. The rain arrives tomorrow evening across the Avalon, and that's the same deal for the Burin, Clarenville, perhaps a late afternoon arrival for you folks, but it's basically Bonavista Bay back across to Harbour Breton, and then the central west half of the island that are going to be seeing those periods of rain truck through for the morning and a little bit later in the morning for places like Gander up towards Bonavista Bay, but still getting into that rain through the day tomorrow. The Straits and Mary's Harbour, some showers early. I think we'll see some gradual clearing into the afternoon, perhaps not for the Straits, but certainly for Mary's Harbour, and a pretty nice day for the rest of the Big Land. And we'll talk about Thursday, Friday, and the all-important weekend forecast in just a few minutes. Debbie?
Thanks very much, Ryan. Well, after months of back and forth, Mile One Stadium finally has a team in place for the upcoming season of the National Basketball League of Canada.
Yes, the yet-to-be-named team will start in just under 2 months, and its arrival will be welcomed by local basketball players and coaches.
So here now's Jeremy Eaton has been bouncing around on this story today. I couldn't resist Jeremy. He's at Mile One. What are people saying about pro ball coming to town?
Well, Debbie, for basketball fans, this news is like being selected for the draft. It's unbelievable, but there's lots of work left to do. You see, as Carolyn said, the team doesn't have a name. There aren't no jerseys. There aren't any jerseys, sorry. There's no coaches. They don't even have a player roster, and yet they're expected to hit the hard court here behind me in about 2 months. When the news first broke back in May, Scott Noftel jokingly posted this Twitter video of himself looking to buy basketball tickets.
Finally. Been a long time coming. So again, I'm as a fan, I'm excited. As a basketball coach, I'm very excited for not only the kids but the whole basketball community.
Longtime player and the owner-operator of the Next Level Basketball Training School, Noftel sees this as a huge step forward for the sport in this province.
I think this is a great day for basketball in the province. It's not a secret that our results at the national level, the Canada Games level, are very weak. And I think having the NBL here is going to contribute to us getting moving in the right direction.
Off the glass, and a follow-up slam from...
Getting this sport On the floor here at Mile 1 will be a new move for the stadium. In its history, it's only made the change twice. Once in May for the Harlem Globetrotters and once in 2003 for a preseason NBA game that didn't happen.
We cover the ice. We have a floor that we would use for concerts as well. You cover the floor, and then you would lay your basketball floor on top of that and bring in your nets, bring in your shot clocks, and convert the building from being in hockey mode to basketball mode.
And just like that, Halifax walks into the audience, steals one.
Staff here are welcoming the news of a team coming, but there's lots of work to be done before the opening tip-off.
Despite having started this process in May, we are now 2 months to the start of a season, and we have a very short window of time to actually execute this and work with the ownership group to put a team on the court.
I think the St. John's are going to support this team and show up. I believe the mayor said you only need 1,500 seats to break even. I think it's very doable, and it's going to be exciting. I can't wait.
The big news for Mile 1 is that this news means that there will be at least 20 games played here, possibly 10 more if the team can make the playoffs. Now the question on many people's minds is how much is this going to cost? Well, I took a quick look at the Cape Breton Highlanders website. They're selling the VIP tickets for $50. You can get courtside seats for just $25, but if you want an outer bowl seat, you're just paying $10 a game. Reporting live in St. John's, I'm Jeremy Eaton for Here and Now.
And as Jeremy said, few details are known about the soon-to-be franchise. No team name, no roster, no confirmed schedule.
So Here Now reached out to the New York businessman behind the endeavor to ask why he wants to bring basketball to St. John's, Newfoundland.
For one, I'm Canadian, and I was born in Nova Scotia. Lived a good part of my life there, so it's the Canadian aspect and the Maritime Province aspect, and not so much as St. John's, Newfoundland. Number two is, we look at St. John's as an opportunistic market for a lot of things, and whether it's basketball, whether it's hockey, whether it's also, some other entertainment and opportunities, and, more important, it could be a lot of fun and an interesting place to spend some time.
Well, from one sport to a sport of another kind, up next, Earl McCurdy joins us live in studio to explain why he's heading to the bench and leaving politics.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, the province's new Democrats are going to be looking for someone else to lead their party. As we told you a short while ago, Earl McCurdy will resign as leader at the end of this month. It has been a short ride as party leader for McCurdy, taking the political plunge just 2.5 years ago after a long career as head of the Fish Food and Allied Workers Union. His penchant for quips and one-liners followed him into politics.
If that's what it is, why not say so instead of substitute plain language for gobbledygook? I have yet to be convinced, far from it, that you actually save money. Well, I think that's poppycock. This is all about a photo op for them.
And Earl McCurdy is here with me now. I think some people are going to miss your quips and one-liners, and they weren't even the best ones. They were the only ones I could find in a hurry. You have been only leader for a short while. You came in obviously with expectations that you would make changes. What have you achieved as leader?
Well, I think I knew when I got in that I had a relatively limited time frame that I was going to be involved in politics because it was late in my work life that I took the plunge. I think perhaps if I could point to one thing in particular that I'm proud of, is that we were able to put together in a relatively short period of time in 2015 a really strong field of really noteworthy candidates. People who have been accomplished in different fields. A lot of those people have become part of the party's provincial executive or have otherwise stayed engaged. And I think we're well positioned to have, for the next general election, to have again a good, strong team of candidates who represents something other than kind of old-style politics and are not first and foremost politicians looking to get elected as much as they're people with a strong background in a particular area who want to get out and advocate for the people that they've worked with in their respective areas.
You feel like you accomplished that, but you didn't get a seat. That hamstrung you considerably. Was that your biggest disappointment?
Yeah, there's no question that to be a leader without a seat is you're a bit on the outside looking in, and I knew just at the stage of my life when I got involved that it really, for this to really work as I'd hoped, I'd have to get elected in that first crack at it, and when that didn't happen, then that certainly limited what I could do. I didn't want to just kind of desert ship right away because we had some to recover from the election to get started. I worked closely with our caucus over the next year and a half or so, or almost 2 years, working on our line of approach in question period, the kind of issues we'd pursue. And I think that we have results in the House of Assembly that are disproportional to our small caucus because of the work of our two very outstanding MHAs.
Well, when you were there, though, you had a government that polling numbers were so bad, and you weren't able to capitalize on that. Was it a missed opportunity, a squandered opportunity to make hay while government was struggling?
Well, I think first of all, the polls really are a moment in time, and they're here today, gone tomorrow. But having said that, I think the last 4 CRA polls, which is the firm that does quarterly polls, have us steady at about the 25% mark. Now that's enough. We had 12% in the last election, so that's a level where we're poised to, I think, be a contender if we can hold and build on those numbers. The performance of the current government hasn't been great. You can be sure that in an election campaign that we will be reminding voters of just what a mess the previous government left behind, and in particular the folly of the Muskrat Falls project, which they've basically rammed through the legislature with indecent haste, and which the Liberals failed when they had a responsibility upon taking office to do an immediate stop-or-go analysis and to level with the people on what the issues were and what were the costs and benefits of stopping, what were the costs of benefits of proceeding, both environmental and economic, and they failed to do so. So, those chickens, I think, can still come home to roost for both parties who really were part of putting together this project that really is such a mess for the province going forward.
Just in the final seconds that we have left, Mr. McCurdy, you said today you're resigning because of family reasons, something that people have scoffed at when politicians say this, but we take you at your word. But is there a potential for you to run again? And I'm thinking Judy Foote's seat is going to be wide open very soon.
Oh no, the Judy Foote's seat can be as wide open as it likes now. I'm going to be moving very shortly to Eastport, my wife's hometown. We have a son just starting high school there, and those 3 years he's going to spend in high school, we can't kind of put them aside for now and pick them up in a few years' time. They're now, and we've decided that's the place for us to be, and we'll be moving very shortly as soon as we can finish packing our stuff and putting our house up for sale.
You'll be going out over the overpass for
oh, absolutely,
for your home.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A beautiful area.
Earl McCurdy, thank you very much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Every kid's favorite store is in big trouble. We'll tell you what's going on at Toys R Us in just a few minutes.
Well, let's meet our young athlete of the day. Today, we introduce you to an athlete from Corner Brook.
Yes, Ryan Wheeler is 4 years old and loves playing soccer and baseball.
Awesome job, Ryan. You are today's young athlete of the day. Nice.
It is.
Well, earlier in the show, we talked about Maria, and again, a big storm, and unfortunately bearing down on Puerto Rico. And in fact, the Puerto Rico radar shows just how impressive this storm is from when you're looking at it from a meteorological standpoint. You can see the eye of the storm being picked up there from the radar. And unfortunately, yeah, making a beeline for Puerto Rico. Look at those gusts, 325 kilometers per hour. That is a Category 5 storm again. Very, very strong. And there is its track tonight, likely making landfall in Puerto Rico as a 5. Weakens gradually over the next couple of days, and then we'll wander up again between the U.S. and Bermuda, at least somewhere in that neck of the woods by this weekend. Lots of uncertainty beyond that. No imminent impacts on our weather here. Now, keeping an eye on Jose as well. This storm is again spinning some rain up into the northeastern seaboard of the U.S. and also throwing a bit of moisture up into our neck of the woods over the next couple of days. Nothing out of the ordinary, though. Not looking at anything that we haven't seen before. A bit of extra moisture, and watch its track over the next 5 days or so. It will work to the north and then it will spin back to the south, and basically over the next 4 or 5 days it sits where it is, and again not having any direct impact from us on us, but I am watching some of those outer bands of moisture that are going to be pushing up towards Atlantic Canada over the next couple of days. Again, by Wednesday afternoon, rain for west and central Newfoundland, some scattered showers clearing for you folks in Labrador, and what will be a pretty nice afternoon for Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Labrador City, Nain. Again, the showers clearing out of the southeast, and there's that rain that will be moving through Newfoundland but staying out of the Avalon region until Wednesday evening into the overnight. And there it is there. Some of those steadier periods of rain possible through Wednesday night. Thursday morning, there's a lingering chance of some drizzle early on, but it looks like a pretty quick clear out into the afternoon. Winds are going to be northwesterly, so it will be a cooler day, certainly across the east and the northeast, where temperatures, I think, will be capped around 14, 15 degrees. We'll get to as warm as 16 for the west coast and the southwest coast. Looking at drizzle chances from Nain down, especially Makovic to Cartwright, but most of inland Labrador is looking smooth sailing for your Thursday time period. Friday, area of high pressure comes overhead and looking at a very nice one across the island. Even Labrador looking pretty good. Some building clouds in Lab West at 16 degrees. Everyone else is looking pretty nice indeed. 16 to 18 degrees generally on the island. Now, I will mention that system that's going to increase the clouds in Labrador City on Friday, some significant uncertainty in terms of the timing of that system for the weekend. So right now I just will mention that point, and that the weekend forecast, it could change a little bit. About 12 hours of disagreement in terms of the arrival of that system. So it does have an impact for Sunday's forecast on the island. Right now I do have shower chances, a generally cloudy day with temperatures dropping, and that temperature drop holds into next week. Labrador, it looks like those showers will arrive through the day on Saturday, with some lingering showers clearing through Sunday.
Well, turning now. Oh, there we go.
You got to be faster than that.
I know.
Well, we're going to turn now to some national and international news. Toys R Us is actually filing for bankruptcy protection in the U.S., and its Canadian subsidiary will be following suit. The big box toy retailer says it's going to restructure its $5 billion in long-term debt and plot out a path to long-term growth. Now, no stores are expected to close, and the company says it will be business as usual when it comes to toy sales. One of the key hurdles the company will have to overcome is increased competition from online retailers, big box stores that can undercut them on price. The retailer also faces challenges with the trend towards kids ignoring conventional toys and playing on smartphones instead.
Ottawa's bottom line is looking a bit stronger today, with not nearly as much red ink on the books. New numbers show the federal deficit dropped to $17.8 billion. That's down from the $23 billion projected back in the spring of this year. The government's cash flow was boosted by revenues that were $1.4 billion higher than expected. However, Ottawa is still spending more than it is collecting, and that has pushed the federal debt to $631 billion.
For the second time in weeks, Mexico has been rocked by a powerful earthquake.
Se cayeron edificios.
Today's quake, measuring 7.1 on the Richter scale, struck 175 kilometers south of Mexico City. The governor of Mexico State said at least 2 people are dead. There were reports of building collapses and people trapped in the rubble. This is the second major earthquake to strike the country this month. On September 8th, a magnitude 8.1 quake hit.
Well, you're looking at our beautiful viewer picture of the day, and you'll never guess where this one is from. I'll give you a clue. It's not on the island. It is in Labrador, but that's all I'm giving you. Debate. We'll talk about it after the break. Quick recap on the next 3 days, and you can see where we've got a pretty nice day shaping up tomorrow in the east, but certainly that rain building in for you folks in Corner Brook and Central, and that shoots out pretty quickly Thursday and a nice Friday for most of us. Before the break, I asked you to guess where our viewer picture of the day was taken. It was not on the island, in Labrador, and some of you perhaps recognize the beautiful sunset from recently. And Roxanne Cabot, great picture here. What else can you say other than a lovely reflection shot, which are very tough pictures to take. Needs to be flat calm.
Yeah,
which,
especially here on the Avalon, where it's rarely flat calm.
Yeah.
It is a gorgeous shot.
So is that like Happy Valley Goose Bay, or where?
Yes, in the Happy Valley Goose Bay area.
Lovely.
Keep them coming, as we say. We just love to share the pictures, and I love the way you're teasing us. We don't know where the pictures are from. I like the big reveal. That's just about it for us for this evening, and hope you have a great night. Enjoy the rest of the late summer. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Fall arrives on Friday.
Oh, good night. It just means we get to